first top layer of dirt and grass.
How did they get it to stay like that?
They roll it. The grass itself um, keeps the keeps it all the dirt together.
Really?
Yeah. Let's see here. It is 24, so it's 35 minutes. 36 minutes. 36 minutes. Can you guys hear me? Testing 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? 1. Yeah, hang on. Edwin, can you hear me?
Can hear you.
All right. Everybody hold. I'll let you know when we're coming on.
All right.
One.
minutes. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting On the Hunt with Alpin Optics. I'm your host, Rick White, and tonight's show, no stranger to the show is Mr. Edwin Schertz, Mr. Wingbone himself, and we've got a lot to talk about, but we are going to go to a quick 30-second break, and we'll be back, and we'll get Edwin on the line. And welcome back, everybody. Tonight's guest from my home state of Iowa as well, Mr. Edwin Schertz. Edwin, how you doing this evening? I'm doing good, Rick. I've been beating the heat exhaustion we've been having this week. It's been pretty warm here in southeast Iowa.
Did you get those storms yesterday like we did?
We had some overnight and woke up this morning. The ground was saturated. We had one blow through, but it kind of went around us. Not exactly where we were working today, but most of it happened last night, so we got lucky.
Yeah, we got hit about 9 o'clock, and it wasn't near as bad as they said it was going to be. We had 60-mile-an-hour winds, which was bad enough, but they were predicting up to 100, and we didn't need that for sure. So it ended up being a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I've got lots of branches on the ground. I'm going to have to do some cleaning again, but at least no trees down, not in my yard anyways.
Right. We had a barricade blown over this morning in a tree branch in the freshly paved road that we were working on, and we got that cleaned up. No damage to the road. We got lucky.
Right. I'm just scanning
But
over, and I'm scanning over so I can see you on my phone here, and looks like you've got a pretty interesting shirt on this evening.
oh yeah, I got a new shirt here, Mr. Wingbone's new shirts, Copper John, and we got them in stock in short sleeve and long sleeve, and they're $25 shipped short sleeve, $30 shipped long sleeve. And we have limited quantities right now. So if you're interested, just contact me on Facebook, send me a message, and we'll get you a shirt out.
Boy, you make a real good commercial. You know that? I was just going to say how nice
Well,
the shirt
I
is. I
try.
I actually I actually have a couple of those, and I actually like that shirt. It feels good, it fits good, and I like the new logo that you've got going on there and stuff. So, anyways, turkey season's over. It's been over for a while, and deer season's around the corner. And speaking of deer season, before we go any further, I've been talking about this the last 3-4 weeks of how we were going to get you on the show and give away one of your custom grunt calls. Do you happen to have that custom grunt call in front of you?
I do. I'm wearing it around my neck. I have it on a custom lanyard as well with a piece of a deer antler that's been painted, and we hand painted a deer track on it. And it's a walnut call. And it's just like the one that gave me this ribbon in 2018 at the Grand National Calling Contest in Nashville. I took first place with my walnut deer call that I entered. And this is one that is just like it. And they are very versatile. They go all the way from buck clear up to fawn. They've got 5 different slots here. You can roll this rubber band or whatever it is, O-ring, we call it an O-ring, on the reed to change the tone of the deer call. So it's versatile. You can imitate any deer in the woods all through season, early season to the rut to post rut. So and the fact that the judges in Nashville liked them, just I don't know, it makes it even sweeter.
Yeah, now I know you're going to be giving that one away, and I know you're going to sanitize it before you send it out. So, with that in mind,
Oh
let's
yeah,
hear it.
okay. Now I've got it on the buck setting. The buck is all the way down. Fawn is clear at the top. So this is the buck. These are so easy to operate. You can click with them with little effort. All you do is just go into the call, and you can get them single clicks when the buck is really frustrated during the rut. And the doe, my 2 favorite sounds that this call makes are the buck and the doe. This doe is phenomenal. And all the way up to fawn. Early season, when the fawns get separated from their mom, they might do an aggressive bleat call. I'm not exactly a pro on the fawns, but here's a fawn. So the call is very versatile, and I don't know who's going to win this call tonight, but I know one thing: I wouldn't want to be a deer in their neck of the woods.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna give that call away towards the end of the show. So I've got it all figured out on how we're gonna do it. So just make sure you're
All
on the
right,
show towards
this
the
is
end
the
of the
call.
show, and then we're gonna give it away. Now let's talk a little bit about. Now you did what you called clicking, which is a tending grunt. Do you want to explain to the people what a tending grunt is and when you might use that in a hunting situation?
When you see the bucks chasing um, the does, some of the does may be in heat, or some hunters are out there using estrus doe scent, and the bucks get riled up and they start chasing the does. And when they start chasing the doe will walk a little bit, and then a buck will kind of grunt after her. It'll be like, and then when he stops, he'll do like a breeding grunt, and he's wanting to sniff that doe. And if she's not receptive, she'll take off, and then he'll chase her for a while, and he'll get frustrated. because he's ready and she's not, and sometimes they'll click. So and I've personally heard it in the woods. I had this giant buck coming in right at daybreak, and he had three mature does with him, and he come in behind him, and I was squirrel hunting. It was during squirrel season, and I hear this, and man, my heart started racing. I was like, "What is that?" And then I saw this wide rack coming through the woods. He must have heard my heart pounding, the shirt jumping off my chest, and he bolted. But what a sight and what a sound to hear in the woods. I mean, less than 100 yards away, and it was just loud, and it's a single click, and they do it when they got hot receptive does that just aren't ready.
Yeah, to sum it up, the easiest way, a tending grunt really is just a grunt that a buck does when he's tending a doe. It's that simple. When he's
Right? Yeah,
tending a doe,
yeah.
he'll
Plain and
do tending
simple.
grunts. Yep. So
And
early
I have a
season.
series.
Okay,
Go
if you
ahead.
were going to go out early season, in Iowa, our season opens up October 1st. And if you were going to go out and grunt at deer, do you have a technique that you use early season?
Well, early season, I would try to tend to stick to social grunts, something soft and easy, because the bucks are starting to get worked up, wanting to establish their area, their territory. So I've heard this out in the woods when a buck comes in, or a young buck. I had a little scrub buck, basket rack, whatever you want to call him. It was a young year and a half buck, and he'd come in and he stood outside the brush, and I heard these soft little grunts. So I would say early season, soft grunts, just saying, "Hey, it's me. Everything's okay. Yeah, I don't want to rile you up. I just want to come through," or whatever it means to them.
Yeah. Now, when I
But
grunt at
I would
deer
tend,
early season, I was going to say when I grunt at deer early season, uh, I typically won't grunt at a deer unless I can see the deer, and based on the reaction that deer gives me, will determine whether I want to grunt anymore. But as I get closer to the rut, I blind grunt a lot. In other words, I grunt quite often when I'm not seeing a deer in hopes of calling one in. But I can tell you my deer hunting experience, and I've got lots of years of that, I have called in many deer with a grunt call. There's two things that I don't, well, three things, I guess, that I don't want to forget when I go to the tree stand. Well, maybe there's a lot more than three. There's just my safety vest, there's my bow, there's my release. But I do not want to go to the woods and get in my tree stand without a grunt call. It's really that important. It really is.
me too, me too. I love to be out there and just talk to them. That's the whole sport of it for me, is to try and convince them that I'm real. And having a good call in your vest and knowing how to use it, in my opinion, is hands down the best weapon you could have besides your bow or your shotgun or your rifle is a good call.
Right. What are you doing, Edwin, this time of the year right now? What are you doing to kind of prepare yourself for deer season? Or what could the deer hunters be doing right now to give them maybe an advantage come deer season?
Well, if you're going to be a bow hunter, I would say get out there once a week, even though it's hot and brutal, and shoot your bow. If you can do it more, the better. The better off you are, knowing your weapon, knowing what it can do at any given yardage. Practice off yardage. Trail cameras, if you want to know what the deer are doing in your area, and maybe what's coming through, get some trail cameras out there, and just don't put them in one area. Scatter them around. Find different areas where they're coming in and out of fields or travel corridors to water, and put them over that right now to see what's coming through, and then try to pattern one that you might catch that you like, and find its route. And but don't over go into your cameras too much right now. I would let them go at least 3 weeks at a time.
Right. Now, Edwin, we'll get back to some deer hunting, tips and tactics here in a minute. But, you and I, we do a lot of filming. And I wanted to
Yeah.
talk a little bit tonight about self-filming. And I know we've talked about this before, but, there's more and more people getting into it every year, and it gets it's kind of new to a lot of people. But are there some tips that you might give some people that want to go out and self film their hunt?
For me, what I have found, now I've done this multiple ways, but with your self filming, a tripod can get in the way. And when we go up in the tree, Rick, you and I will mount a bracket, a base onto the tree, and then we hook our camera arm on there, and then the camera goes onto that, and then we're filming with that. And if I'm going to hunt from the ground, I'll use my camera arm. I'll find a tree where I can wrap that base around, and I'll put that camera in there and have my bow. And if you're going to self film, get you a good sturdy arm, something that's going to be easy for you to operate and know what this does, what that does. So at the moment of truth, you're ready.
One of the other things that people can do, if you don't have a per se video camera, or you don't want to go out and buy a new video camera, there are inexpensive ways to film your hunt, and one way is action cameras, and we actually have an Alpen action camera, and it is a 4K camera, and it runs off of Bluetooth. There's a remote, or it also runs Wi-Fi to your phone, but you can actually in 4K, you can capture the hunt, even though you might not be zoomed in completely all the way in. But in 4K, when you go to the edit suite, you can bring that in, close. You can zoom that in up. So, maybe it's just as simple as putting an action camera on your bow or your gun, or in the tree even. You can put it in the tree, and you can put 3 or 4 of them. You can put one facing you, and one facing this direction, and one facing that direction, and capture a hunt pretty easily with Rick, really little knowledge of doing so.
Does that camera
right? And I do believe that they have an app that you download onto your phone, and you can run that action cam right from your phone.
That app, yes, absolutely. No, it is a smart. You can run it off your phone. It does Wi-Fi to your phone.
That's doing really good for you, Rick.
I'm sorry, say again?
That camera's doing really good for you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, because we worked on getting the videos done for that, and I really haven't used them that much just because of, I've got other cameras to use, so I was hoping it was good.
Yeah, no, everything's good so far. I like the 4K. Now you can set it in 4K. You can set the shutter speeds too. I run mine in 4K at 30 frames per second, but you can set it to 60. You can set it to 1080, 720. I mean, you can really set it to whatever your needs are. Great camera, looks good, runs good.
So Dennis Jackson,
just go out and get one and try it.
Yeah, so Dennis Jackson.
Say again, I'm sorry?
Dennis Jackson. Can you hear me, Rick?
Okay.
Yeah, he says he's asking if you're coming to Georgia this year.
Oh, well, yes, I am. I am actually. I'm going down and hunting Georgia, the muzzleloader season again this year. So absolutely, I'll be down there. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Edwin?
Yes. I'm not going to Georgia this year. I'd love to go to hunt out of the state of Iowa, but Rick, I have them things going on in my life right now, my personal life, that I wasn't expecting this year, and it's kind of put a damper on a lot of my travel expectancies that I wanted to do this year. But I had to recourse my venue, taking over my dad's house, and so. But next year, I maybe get to travel out of state somewhere.
Well, listen, Edwin, you have something. You have a job, and I'm retired, so it makes it a little easier for me to go and do some of that stuff. So, and I shouldn't say I retired, because it seems like I work more now than I did when I was actually working full time. But so when we get in closer to the rut, Edwin, and we're sitting in a tree, and we're using our grunt call, and maybe we're rattling, and so on and so forth. How are you calling? How are you using your grunt call that time of year?
because that's when it works the
Okay, well,
best.
right. And my favorite sequence when earlier we talked about the tending grunt. Okay, so let's play out a little scenario in our mind for deer season. We got a buck coming in and chasing a doe, and she's not receptive. So she stops. He's checking her out, and he's kind of nudging her, "Come on," and she's like, "No." So she trots on. So we got that buck coming in, and he's chasing her, and he's wanting to tend her. So when the buck's coming in behind her, I this is what I do. This is the buck coming in behind her. And I just open and close my hand and change the sound to make it sound like he's moving and looking around. And then I'll pause for a minute and I'll separate the call, and then I'll roll it up to the doe. So now he's tending her. The doe has stopped. She gives out a couple bleats. Wow. Now this bleat that I'm doing is called a lost doe bleat. So let's get back to the buck chasing the doe. A buck wants to get that doe separated from everybody else because he wants her all to himself. So this doe may not be in her prime summer area, so she's out into a new area she's lost. So she's giving out a pleading bleat to let other deer in the area know that she's nervous, and so she does a lost bleat, and it's just a rise and a fall in the bleat sound. Wow. And that's all I do, and then I'll go back to the buck chasing her again. So the buck didn't get her to recept. So now she bleated. Now she's trotting. So he's going to come, and then she stops again, and then he lets out what's called a breeding bellow, and it's a little longer grunt, and then you open up your hand and stop the grunt, and it sounds like this. And that's the series I use predominantly in the rut. I'll every 15 to 20 minutes I'll blind call if I'm not seeing nothing. I might switch it up and rattle, and then if I'm going to rattle, I get real aggressive with the buck sound, and I'll let out like a longer aggressive grunt, and that'll sound something like this. And it sounds like he's angry, and then I'll hit my rattle bag and give it some sound and stuff, and then I'll hang them up. And I usually see stuff with them two sequences. That's mainly my rut. That's how I call it during the rut.
You know, a couple of things to note when you're rattling and or grunting. Always be prepared, because I can't tell you how many bucks that I've had just come running in on me. You know, and they'll surprise you. Now there's lots of different ways to call. So, you know, go out and try different things and see what works for you. See, now me personally, the only thing I use during the rut is a mature buck grunt. That's all. I don't doe call. I do some, you know, some tending grunts from time to time and a buck roar every now and then, but mainly just buck grunts. That's just me. Very seldom. In fact, I very seldom use a doe call when I'm hunting bucks. Now I will use a doe grunt when I'm doe hunting, and it works very well. But and I'm not saying don't use a doe call when you're buck hunting, because it can work. But me personally, I like to use a mature buck grunt most always. That's what I do. That's what I'm successful on. But again, there's so many different scenarios and ways to call. So, but don't go
Right.
to the stand without your grunt call, because I can't tell you how. In fact, I called in one on video. The hunt will be out here soon. Last year, a buck. I'll give you the scenario. Buck came in. John Dallas was filming me, one of our staffers, and came right in behind us. I never saw it. He tapped me on the shoulder. The buck wasn't even 15 yards from us, coming in behind us, walking away. When it got past us, it walked away, and I grunted, and finally the deer heard me, stopped. I grunted again, and he turned around, changed his travel route completely, and walked right around. And I shot him at about 15 yards. So, and it's all on
Nice.
video, and you know, so it definitely does work. Now, listen, we're gonna give this call away here in about say about 5 minutes. So, right now would be a good time to and here's what I'm gonna do.
I've got my Alpen hat here, as you can see, upside down. You see that? And in here, I have all these little pieces of paper, and they're numbered 1 to 50. Okay, 1 to 50. So everybody that's on right now, pick a number. Now I'm not seeing these numbers. They're going to Paul, and I don't think Edwin, you're seeing them either. Which, anyways,
No, I'm not.
so I'm not seeing your numbers. But now would be the time for the next 5 minutes. Put your one guess down, a number between 1 and 50, and in about 5 minutes, I'm going to draw one of the numbers from this Alpen hat here, and whoever's the closest is going to take home that beautiful call. And does that lanyard come with it, Edwin?
This lanyard is going with it, Rick.
Man, that's nice. That's nice. Can I guess a number?
Hey, it's your contest.
Yeah, no, I won't be doing that. So listen, self-filming. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Now, Edwin mentioned if you're in a stand and you've got a camera, don't try hand holding that camera. Get a tree arm, and you don't have to buy an expensive one. Now, you can spend a lot of money on them, and the expensive ones are very nice. They're good quality arms, but you want an arm that's fluid, holds your camera, number one, doesn't make any noise, and stays out of your way, especially if you're trying to film yourself. And listen, it is not easy to film yourself. But
No.
if you don't have the ability to grab a buddy to go out and film you, sometimes you're filming yourself. But even if you're running a standard video camera or a DSLR or something like that, those little action cameras are nice because you can attach them to a branch and just point them back at you. So you really are getting all your, what we call cutaways, done live, and you don't have to go back and reshoot a lot of that stuff, which makes it nice. But
Right.
it's just not easy, Edwin, and you got to watch out for weather conditions and stuff like that. And many times I've sat out with my camera under an umbrella that I put in the tree to keep them from getting wet and stuff. But any other tips that you could recommend?
That's a great tip. If you don't have the umbrella, carry a large a garbage bag with you, at least a 30-gallon one, so you can put your camera equipment in there and have a way to keep it out of the weather if the weather decides to take a turn. If you're going to be out there filming,
Right.
protects your camera. And I always have a garbage sack in my hunting vest, my backpack, or whatever when I'm filming.
What do you throw in your backpack when you go hunting? What do you take with you?
Well, I have a rangefinder. I have my grunt call. I have a knife. I have a GPS. I like to mark things with a GPS. I have a Garmin 750, and it can take pictures and everything too, but I don't use it for that. I'll mark my sign when I'm going into my hunting areas. I'll mark new scrapes and new rubs, and it shows me travel routes. Early in the season, I'll go in when I'm checking my cameras. I'll take my GPS with me, and I'll mark new rubs, new crossings, scrapes if I find them. And then now I have an area of where this buck is coming. Now, my camera is going to tell whether it's daytime or nighttime, of course. But I have an area where they want to be, where they like to be. And then I have to go from there and narrow it down. Where are they at in the daylight? Is this a travel corridor, or is this just a spontaneous? Did they get spooked here? Why? But I love a GPS in my backpack, and then also a small first aid kit. I gotta have a small first aid kit. You never know when something unfortunate is going to happen. But
Right. Here's something.
that,
Here's something that you. I was going to say, here's something that you may want to do. This is something that I do every year, and it makes me more successful, really, to be honest with you. And it takes a couple of years to gather the data. But I go out, when I go out hunting, when I come in, I write down every time I'm in a tree stand during bow season. I write down how many does, how many bucks I saw, and how many hours I was in the stand. And then I also will, we have a little thing that Iowa sends out that you fill out a form.
Yep.
It asks you if you see
survey.
turkeys and coyotes and fox and different animals. But I do this anyways, and then they send you a report back at the end of the year. But if you'll write down how many deer you see each day and the date, okay, and then on top of that, the weather. and I'll put down it was a west wind or a northwest wind, and it was between 28 and 35 degrees. And if I know the pressure, I'll write that down. And what you'll do after a couple of years is you'll look at that and you'll determine when the best time and best weather situations will show you more deer. Well, you'll see more deer on those specific days, and you start putting that together. It's really remarkable how that happens the same all the time. So, anyways,
Right.
628. Paul, did we get people writing down numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Edwin, I think it's about that time. What do you think?
I think it is. I didn't submit a number, but I'm the call maker. I guess I can make me one just like this.
I'm guessing. What was the numbers between what?
1 and
1
50.
and 50.
I'm gonna guess 47.
All right. So look right here. Here's the hat. I've got all the numbers in here, and I'm going to reach in, and I've got one now. Let's see right here. All right. Here's the number, and the number
Now, how are you
tonight
going to work
is
it, Rick?
closest one. The number is
Okay.
33.
33.
is the number.
Karen Dallas nailed it on the head.
You're kidding.
Congratulations, Miss Karen Dallas. I know for a fact I don't want to be a deer in your woods. That's for sure. Congratulations. We'll get this out to you this week, and it will have this lanyard with it. The cool thing about this lanyard is you can adjust how you want this deer call to sit when you have it around your neck. The paracord runs through the little medallion.
You guys need to send me one of your broken but semi-usable cruddy ones that you don't like of the turkey calls.
Oh, well, we can do that.
We
can
got to
actually
get
send you one.
We got to get you some. That way,
I want a turkey call because my girlfriend's house is way out in the woods, and I want to go out there. I know they're there. I hear them in the morning. I get out there right after sunbreak, right, and I hear them. So they're good. What, 150, 200 yards away, probably something like that, because it's hilly. They could be down
Well, we
in
can
the
get you a
valley.
call.
But I was just like, I just want to call back at them and get them riled up so she can come out and listen.
Well, I think a slate call is what you need, Paul. Something that it's very easy to use. It's very versatile because if you're anything like me, if them birds start coming in, you're going to start shaking and getting nervous, and then you might not run that call good. And the slate is so forgiving when you get that excited.
All right. Well,
listen, I'm just going to
guys,
yell at them, so that's all. I'm not going to do anything else.
All right. Well, listen,
You stupid turkeys! So that's what I was yelling at Edwin last time I saw him, I think.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So, anyways,
kidding.
let's do the countdown here. Let me congratulate Karen Dallas first of all, number 33. She got lucky, and we're going to try to give something away a little more often. We're going to have some Alpenbresser stuff to give away, and maybe some videos, and maybe some turkey calls, and some other things. So if you have a better way of I can throw these numbers in a hat and do that every week. It's pretty simple to do that. But anyways, we'll figure that out. Congratulations,
Knife
to
throwing.
Karen. Now, my
put the numbers on the wall inside of a balloon, and take a knife and throw it.
Yeah. At the end of the season, Rick would have a nice cottage cheese looking wall.
Well,
I'll stick with my hat.
He's got access to plywood that no one's using.
Yeah.
See, you choose that.
Yeah. No, I think I'm going to keep my hat in line. But
all
hey,
right.
Listen, guys. Next week, Miss Brenda Valentine is going to be on the show. She's going to be my guest. It's been a while since she's been on, but we're going to have Brenda on, so it'll be an exciting show and good to talk to her. Edwin, I appreciate you coming on and giving the call away. That was nice of you, and
yes, sir.
It's always good talking
Thank
to you. And
yes,
I'll I'll be talking to you here before long. But good luck this coming fall, and hopefully you'll call in some deer.
Well, I'm gonna be trying to get my nephew Logan on his first big buck. He's 16 now, so he wants to do it with a bow. So we got him a Matthews bow, and we're ready to. How do you say it? Lock and load or whatever.
All right. Well, listen, guys. Time to sign off here. Brenda Valentine next Wednesday, 6 to 6:30 on the Hunt with Alpine Optics. Don't miss it. We appreciate everybody coming along with us. Good night, everybody.
Good night.